Welcome back to the Deep Dive, everyone. This is brought to you by EasyMasterAI.com. Today, we're taking a really fascinating plunge, I think, into a guide that feels, well, very timely. It's all about navigating a landscape that's changing super fast.
Yeah, our source material for this is a guide called ChatGPT Freelance Serenity System by Cindy Donovan. Think of it like getting a shortcut, a way to get up to speed on a pretty big opportunity, maybe find some surprising facts, and hopefully have a bit of fun along the way. That's kind of our mission today.
Exactly. And what's really insightful here, I think, is how this guide frames this exact moment in time. All this tech change, it sees it as a massive opportunity for freelancers, especially if they're smart about using AI tools like ChatGPT specifically. So our goal is to pull out the most important nuggets, the real takeaways from this system. We want to help you understand not just what they're talking about, but why it's so relevant right now, and maybe, just maybe, how you can start applying some of these ideas yourself. Okay, all right, let's get into it then. We're going to unpack how AI is, well, shaking up the whole freelance world. We'll try to pinpoint what the guide calls these gold mines of opportunity, where the real potential lies. Then we'll get practical. How do you deliver the work safely, legally, without stressing yourself out? And we'll look at different platforms where you can actually offer your services and ultimately how you might grow this into, full-time freedom. That's the dream for many, right? So the guide kicks things off by just setting the scene for freelancing itself. Being your own boss, managing your own time, projects, invoices, taxes, the whole package, basically being that hired gun for different companies. You offer your skills project by project, and you run your own show.
That's a good baseline. But the big question then becomes, okay, how does AI fit into that? How does it mesh with this model we already know? And the source really hammers this home. AI is disrupting, well, pretty much every industry you can think of. And freelancing is definitely not an exception. It's really about adapting to some significant shifts. But the guide argues, and I think this is key, that freelancers are actually perfectly positioned for this. Why? Because they're already resilient, already adaptable by nature. It's kind of built into the freelance DNA.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what really jumped out at me was how the guide breaks down AI's power for freelancers. It's not just like automating the boring stuff, organizing data, tagging images, stuff that, let's be honest, nobody really likes doing. Freeing up time for the more interesting tasks is great, but it's more than that.
Oh, absolutely. If you look at the bigger picture, AI isn't just making things faster. It's a serious productivity booster. It means freelancers can potentially handle more work, maybe earn more. But crucially, and this is cool, it can actually fuel creativity. The guide talks about using AI to generate fresh ideas, even combine concepts in unexpected ways. Helps break you out of those creative ruts we all get into sometimes.
And it's genuinely creating new job markets too, right? You see this growing demand for skills in data analysis or people who understand machine learning or can work with natural language processing. The guide even points out that AI-powered platforms are changing how businesses find freelancers in the first place. New pathways are opening up.
Yeah, and one of the most striking points the guide makes is pushing back against that common fear. AI is going to take all our jobs. Instead, it argues AI actually frees up humans for more meaningful work, more creative work, higher value stuff. For anyone in a creative field, that's potentially huge. Imagine having more time to just think, to imagine, without being bogged down by repetitive tasks. It's about amplification, not replacement.
Okay, so opportunities are there. But what does that mean in practical terms? Finding actual work. The guide dives into these freelance gold mines. It reminds us that freelance jobs aren't all the same, right? You've got temporary contracts, independent contractor gigs, sometimes even contract to hire setups. But the common thread, freedom, working on your own terms.
And then it gets really specific, suggesting actual services you could offer, like right now, even without tons of prior experience, because AI can help bridge that gap. Things like being a freelance writer for blogs or social media content, or maybe a YouTube script writer, or writing SEO-optimized articles, that's a big one, or even crafting killer Facebook ad copy that grabs attention. So how do you find these gold mines? That's the million-dollar question, right? The guide highlights tools like the AIPRM extension. It's for Google Chrome. When you install it, it basically overlays onto ChatGPT and shows you all these popular pre-made prompts. And these prompts aren't just random. They directly show you what tasks people are frequently asking ChatGPT for help with. It's like a direct line to market demand. You see what people need, and boom, there's a service you could potentially offer. It's a pretty clever way to find out what's hot.
Yeah, that's smart. And one platform the guide really highlights is Fiverr, calls it a freelancer haven. It describes it as this great place for Designers, writers, marketers, you name it, to connect with clients all over the world. Sort of a global marketplace for skills.
And it gives really clear step-by-step advice on how to actually become a seller on Fiverr. It's quite practical. It walks you through signing up, filling out your basic info, choosing your niche, crafting that all-important seller profile. And here's a cool tip it mentions: using that same AIPRM add-on to help write your Fiverr gig listings. Make them punchy, make them optimized.
Yeah.
And also says, hey, do your research. See what jobs are trending. Look at successful sellers. What are they offering? What makes their gigs popular? Check out their sales numbers, their queues.
Right, it goes through setting your prices, figuring out delivery times, publishing your first gig, that's what they call the service listing on Fiverr. And then, okay, how do you promote it? But the core message seems to be quality wins.
Yeah.
High quality work, clear communication, and really trying to go above and beyond what the client expects. That seems to be the key to success there, getting repeat business, good reviews.
Absolutely. Consistency is huge on those platforms.
Okay, so you land a gig, fantastic. Now what? The guide shifts focus to actually doing the work safely, legally, and without pulling your hair out. It's not just about getting it done. It's about getting it done on time, making sure it's error-free, and crucially, avoiding nightmares like plagiarism. That can kill your reputation fast.
And while you definitely need to be thorough, the guide is realistic. It admits, hey, humans make mistakes. We all do. So it strongly recommends using tools to protect yourself and your work. And again, that AIPRM extension for Chrome gets mentioned. It's seen as really helpful for generating prompts for all sorts of gigs, SEO content, rewriting stuff, video scripts. It's like having a built-in quality check assistant.
Let's take an example from the guide. Say a client needs an SEO article. You can use AIPRM inside ChatGPT. You tell it the language, the tone, like formal, friendly, whatever the writing style. Input the keywords the client gave you, and ChatGPT spits out a pretty decent draft, often with an outline, maybe even an FAQ section. Gives you a solid starting point.
But here's a fascinating bit of advice, something I hadn't really thought of. The guide suggests taking that AI-generated content and running it through AIPRM again for refinement. Why? Well, according to the source, this extra step makes it much harder for those AI detection tools to flag it as purely AI written. It adds that layer of human touch, or at least makes it feel more human and original. Helps safeguard your work.
That's clever. And for the plagiarism side of things, to be absolutely sure, the guide lists several free checker tools, like search engine reports, small SEO tools, DupliChecker, Quetex, Plagiarism, good resources to have in your back pocket. Basically, run your final work through one of these before sending it off.
Right, it's like a final safety net.
So you're delivering good original work. How do you make yourself stand out? How do you get clients to come back? The guide has some really solid tips here. It boils down to consistently high quality, obviously, but also really understanding the client's brief. Who's their audience? Doing your research adds credibility, makes the content richer, and yeah, the classic advice. Proofread everything meticulously before you hit send.
Yeah, and that connects to the bigger picture, which is all about building relationships, not just doing one-off jobs. The guide really pushes for learning about your client's business. Like, actually check out their website, their social media. Show you've done your homework. Use credible sources for research. Always think about SEO. Pretty much everything online gets looked at by search engines these days. And hit those deadlines. Always. It also encourages being proactive. Give updates. Ask for feedback. Don't be afraid of it. And be flexible. Maybe suggest a better title if you think of one. Or even, destructively question the brief if something seems off. That kind of engagement shows you care about the result, not just ticking boxes. That's what builds loyalty.
Definitely. Okay, so Fiverr is one big option, but the guide makes it clear your market isn't just Fiverr. It lists other popular platforms too, places you can offer your services. Like Upwork, that's a huge one, covers all sorts of freelance work. You create a profile, bid on jobs. There's freelancer.com, which is similar to Upwork, but it also has this contest feature, which is kind of different. You submit work, maybe win a prize. Then there's Contena, which is specifically for writers, offers job listings, training, community support, more niche, and the ProBlogger job board. Again, pretty self-explanatory, aimed at bloggers and writers looking for specific gigs.
Right. And it's worth asking, how do these compare to Fiverr? Well, they often offer a broader reach, maybe different kinds of clients or projects. But, and this is a really important point the guide makes, most of these other platforms take a commission, a cut of your earnings. So that's something you absolutely have to factor into your pricing. You need to know your numbers to make sure you're actually profitable. It's a business decision.
Good point. Okay, so finally, the guide looks at scaling up. Moving beyond just a few gigs towards maybe, full-time freedom, it suggests starting relatively small. Master a couple of services first, get really good at them. Then, gradually, you can expand your client base, maybe increase the scope of the work you offer, build momentum steadily.
Yeah, don't try to do everything at once right out of the gate.
Exactly. And here's where AI pops up again in a really interesting way. ChatGPT can actually help you brainstorm new services to offer. Like, say you're doing well selling YouTube scripts. You could literally ask ChatGPT, hey, people are buying YouTube scripts from me. What other related services could I offer? And it might suggest things like, oh, video editing or script consulting, maybe voiceover work, social media management specifically for those videos, or even other types of writing like blog posts that tie into the videos. It's like having an instant brainstorm partner for business development. Pretty cool.
It really is. And fundamentally, the guide keeps coming back to this core idea. Focusing on top-notch service is the key. That's the foundation for long-term success because happy clients, they don't just pay the bills once, they recommend you. They come back for more work. That's how you build a steady workflow. That's how you build those lasting relationships. And ultimately, that's what leads to the real freedom and independence that I think most freelancers are looking for. It's about building a sustainable career you control.
Yeah, definitely. This whole deep dive into the ChatGPT Freelance Serenity system, it really shows how AI can be way more than just a tool to automate stuff. It really positions AI as this powerful ally, a partner that can help with creativity, boost your productivity, and actually help you grow your business. So what does all this mean for you listening right now? We've sort of walked through how AI isn't just changing jobs, maybe taking some away, but it's actively creating these incredible new paths, new ways to find independence, earn an income in the freelance world. The possibilities, as this guide lays them out, seem genuinely huge for anyone who's willing to adapt, learn, and maybe try some new things.
Which really brings up a question for you to think about, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How can you start using these powerful AI tools?
Yeah.
How can you leverage them to unlock your own freelance potential? Maybe create opportunities that honestly might not have even been possible just a year or two ago.
Yeah. Whether you're just looking to make some extra cash on the side or you have ambitions to build a full-blown, full-time freelance career. The insights here suggest that the right tools, the right strategies, especially with AI in the mix, can make a really significant difference. So if you are intrigued by this whole idea of making money with AI and you want to learn more about the specific tools, the strategies that can help you do that, we definitely encourage you to visit easymasterai.com. That's EASYMASTERAI.com. You can learn all about AI there, discover tools, and figure out ways to potentially make money using AI. Well, that wraps up our deep dive for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and we'll talk to you soon.